Okay, today
Good
we'll see
afternoon,
about the mechanism of
ma'am.
respiration. Okay, see here the respiration. Okay, how you can define this respiration is the process of gas exchange in the body is known as respiration. Clear, and this mechanism of respiration involves mainly three basic steps. Okay, the first one you will call it as pulmonary ventilation, or you will also known it as a breathing, and the second one is external respiration, or you will also call it as a pulmonary respiration. And the third one is the internal respiration or the tissue respiration. Right? If you see what is meant by this pulmonary ventilation or the breathing, okay, is the inhalation and exhalation. If you see, this pulmonary ventilation involves both inhalation and exhalation of air between the atmosphere and the alveoli of the lungs. Clear? See, that means if there is any exchange of gases between the atmosphere and the alveoli of the lungs, you will call it as a pulmonary ventilation. Okay, and the second one is external respiration or the pulmonary respiration, that is the exchange of gases between the alveoli of the lungs and the blood in the pulmonary capillaries. You will call it as a external respiration. Okay, you see the difference here. What is the pulmonary ventilation? That is exchange of gases between the atmospheric air and the alveoli of the lungs. You will call it as a pulmonary ventilation. And the external respiration is the exchange of gases between the alveoli of the lungs and the blood in the pulmonary capillaries. You will call it as an external respiration. And next, coming to the internal respiration, it is the exchange of gases between the blood in the systemic capillaries and to the tissue cells. Okay, finally, from the blood capillaries into the tissue cells, the exchange of gases, you will call it as a internal respiration. Okay, for this mechanism of respiration, mainly it is going to be involves these three basic steps. Okay, we'll discuss one by one about these kind of different steps. First, we'll see about the pulmonary ventilation. Okay, in pulmonary ventilation, if you see, the air flows between the atmosphere and the alveoli of the lungs. See, because of the alternating pressure difference created by the contractions and the relaxation of the respiratory muscles. See, that means in case of the respiratory system, okay, it is made up of the different types of muscles. See, because of the contractions and the relaxation of the muscles in this respiratory system, see, definitely there will be a difference in the pressure between the atmosphere and between the alveoli of the lungs. Clear? See, that means there is a pressure difference that will be created between the atmosphere and the alveoli of the lungs. See, because of that, definitely the air that is present in the atmosphere is going to be enters into the alveoli of the lungs. Clear? See, as the air moves into the lungs, when the air pressure inside the lungs is less than the air pressure in the atmosphere. Clear? See, when the air that is going to be enters inside the lungs, see, whenever the pressure inside the lungs is very less when compared to the air pressure in the atmosphere, see, then only the air from the atmosphere will be enters into the lungs. Clear? See, in the same way, how the air that is going to be moves out from the lungs, when the air pressure inside the lungs is greater than the air pressure in the atmosphere. Okay, here you remember the concept is, that is the movement of the gases or the air that is from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. See, suppose if you see the atmospheric air is more than the air that is present in the lungs, means definitely there will be movement of air from the atmosphere to the lungs. Clear? See, and the carbon dioxide, how it is moving out. See, because inside our body, that is lungs, having higher concentration of carbon dioxide when compared to the atmospheric carbon dioxide. See, that's why from the lungs, the carbon dioxide is going to be moving out. Okay, see, this is the pulmonary ventilation. Okay, what is this pulmonary ventilation? Here, the air flows between the atmosphere and the alveoli of the lungs. Clear? How the air that is going to be flowing between the atmosphere and the alveoli of the lungs? See, because of the pressure difference that is going to be created by the contractions and the relaxations of the respiratory muscles. Clear? See the basic concept here, you remember the movement of air is always in the concentration gradient, that is from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Okay, and next we'll see about the external respiration. See here what happens in case of this external respiration. Okay, it is the diffusion of oxygen, okay, from the air, see, into the alveoli of the lungs. Clear? Sorry, air in the alveoli of the lungs to the blood in the pulmonary capillaries. Clear? See, this is the second step, that is now see the air that will be present in the alveoli from the alveoli of the lungs into the blood in the pulmonary capillaries. Okay, that you will call it as an external respiration, right? See, this external respiration mainly it is going to be converts the deoxygenated blood that is coming from the right side of the heart into the oxygenated that returns to the left side of the heart. Is it clear? See, whatever this pulmonary capillaries, okay, that will be carrying the blood initially, which will be carrying the deoxygenated blood that is coming from the right side of the heart. Is it clear? See, now these pulmonary capillaries, which will be taking up the oxygen from the lungs and which will be converting that blood into the oxygenated blood, and that returns into the left side of the heart. Clear? See, next if you see, as the blood flows through the pulmonary capillaries, it picks up the oxygen from the alveolar air and it is going to be uploads the carbon dioxide into the alveolar air. See, that means how the exchange of gases that is going to be taking place, that is from the lungs into the pulmonary capillaries. Clear? See, oxygen that is diffuses from the alveolar air. If you see the partial pressure of oxygen in case of alveolar, that is 105 mm of Hg, and into the blood in the pulmonary capillaries, that is 40 mm of Hg. If you see here the pressure difference between the alveolar air and the pulmonary capillaries, see alveolar air, how much the partial pressure of oxygen, that is 105 mm of Hg, and the blood capillaries it is 40 mm of Hg. See, that's why I told you always the movement of air or the gases is from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Here the alveolar air, the oxygen concentration is very high, that is 105 mm of Hg. So the movement of air takes place from the alveoli into the pulmonary capillaries. Clear? See, until when this movement is going to be continuous, that means diffusion continues until the partial pressure of oxygen in the pulmonary capillaries matches the partial pressure of oxygen of the alveolar air. See, that means from the alveolar air, continuously the oxygen will be diffused into the pulmonary capillaries till the partial pressure of oxygen in the pulmonary capillaries reaches to 105 mm of Hg. Okay, once it will be reaching the equilibrium, then it start diffusing the oxygen from the alveolar air into the pulmonary capillaries. Clear? See, now until now we had seen how the oxygen is going to be moving from alveolar air into the pulmonary capillaries. Next, if you see, that is carbon dioxide from the pulmonary capillaries, it has to diffuse into the alveolar air, right? The carbon dioxide here diffuses in the opposite direction. See, that means the partial pressure of carbon dioxide of the deoxygenated blood is 45 mm of Hg, whereas in the alveolar it is 40 mm of Hg. See, that means the concentration C in the blood is more than the alveolar air. See, that's why from the blood the carbon dioxide is going to be moving towards the alveolar air. Clear? See, until when it is going to be diffused, until the partial pressure of carbon dioxide of the blood decreases to 40 mm of Hg. Clear? See, generally the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the blood is 45 mm of Hg, right? See, as it is going to be moving into the alveolar air till the blood partial pressure of carbon dioxide which will be reaches to the 40 mm of Hg, until then there will be a movement of carbon dioxide from the pulmonary capillaries into the alveolar air. Clear? See, finally, whatever the blood that will be present in the pulmonary capillaries, that blood is become oxygenated, and that will be returning to the left side of the heart in the pulmonary veins that has the partial pressure of carbon dioxide that is around 40 mm of Hg. Okay, simply you remember the external respiration means the diffusion of oxygen from the alveolar air into the pulmonary capillaries. We will call it as an external respiration. Okay, here you have to know how the oxygen will be diffused from the alveolar air into the capillaries and how there will be diffusion of carbon dioxide from the pulmonary capillaries into the alveoli. And okay, next we'll see about the internal respiration. Okay, if the left ventricle, okay, that is going to be pumps the oxygenated blood into the aorta. See, that means the different systemic capillaries, clear, through which with the help of that systemic capillaries the blood will be transported to different organs of our body, right? See, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the systemic capillaries and the tissue cells is known as internal respiration. Okay, what is this internal respiration? The exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the systemic capillaries and the tissue cells is known as internal respiration. See, that means as the oxygen leaves the bloodstream, the oxygenated blood is converted into the deoxygenated blood. Clear? See, definitely once the blood from the systemic capillaries it reaches into the tissue cells means obviously that blood will be converted into the deoxygenated blood. See, that means the internal respiration occurs throughout the body, but the external respiration occurs only in the lungs. Okay, that's the difference. You remember? External respiration occurs in the lungs and the internal respiration occurs throughout the body. Here, if you see how the oxygen is going to be diffusing and how the carbon dioxide is going to be diffusing, here we'll see. Okay, first the partial pressure of oxygen of the blood into the systemic capillaries is very high, that is 100 mm of Hg. Then the partial pressure of oxygen in case of tissue cells, that is 40 mm of Hg. Clear? See, that's why if you see the systemic capillaries, the pressure of oxygen is 100 mm of Hg, and in case of tissue cells, it's only 40 mm of Hg. See, why there is a very less amount of oxygen that is present in the tissues? See, because the cells constantly uses the oxygen to produce the ATP molecules. Clear? See, that's why in the tissue cells, always the partial pressure of oxygen will be 40 mm of Hg. See, due to this difference of oxygen, definitely the oxygen is going to be diffused from the systemic capillaries into the tissue cells and the blood, okay, the PO2 drops to 40 mm of Hg. See, that means continuously the diffusion is going to be taking place till the partial pressure of oxygen in case of the blood that is going to be decreases to 40 mm of Hg. Until then, there will be continuously the movement of partial pressure of oxygen that is going to be taking place from the systemic capillaries into the tissue cells. Clear? And next one is regarding the diffusion of carbon dioxide is taking place in the opposite direction. Here the tissue cells constantly produces the carbon dioxide. See, the carbon dioxide of cells is 45 mm of Hg. Okay, it's very high than in the systemic capillaries, that is 40 mm of Hg. See, that's why there will be a diffusion of carbon dioxide from the tissues into the capillaries, okay, until the carbon dioxide in the blood reaches to 45 mm of Hg. Okay, until then there will be a continuous movement of carbon dioxide, okay, diffusion you are going to be observed from the tissues into the systemic capillaries. Clear? See, now if you see the systemic capillaries which is now having the deoxygenated blood that returns into the heart, okay, and it is pumped to the lungs for another cycle of external respiration. Okay, see, that's all about the different mechanism of respiration, okay, that can be, okay, represented with the help of this flow chart I have represented here. See, suppose if you see first one regarding the alveoli, Okay, that alveoli which will be taking the oxygen and which will be releasing the carbon dioxide. See, that means left side, that is atmospheric air, and the right side, that is alveolar air. Okay, if you see the pressure differences here, see, because of these pressure differences, see, the oxygen is very high in case of atmosphere air when compared to the alveolar air. So there will be a diffusion of oxygen from the atmospheric air into the alveoli of the lungs. Clear? See, in the same way, if you see, the carbon dioxide is very less in the atmospheric air when compared to the alveolar air. So there will be a diffusion of carbon dioxide from the alveoli into the atmospheric air. Clear? See, that you will call it as a pulmonary ventilation, the first step. Okay, and the next one. Okay, next one is the external respiration, right? See, that is from the alveoli into the pulmonary capillaries. Okay, here also you observe the pressure differences between the oxygen and carbon dioxide. See, that means the movement of air, that is from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. So there will be an exchange of gases that is going to be taking place between the alveoli and the pulmonary capillaries. Clear? So that finally in the heart, the oxygenated blood, the oxygen becomes 100 mm of Hg and the carbon dioxide will become 40 mm of Hg. Clear? See, that you will call it as an external respiration, and the internal respiration, that is from the heart into the tissue cells. Clear? See, that means if you see here the oxygenated blood, the concentration of oxygen and carbon dioxide, and if you see the oxygen and carbon dioxide concentration in the case of systemic tissue cells. Okay, because of these pressure differences, definitely there will be, okay, taking the oxygen and diffusing out the carbon dioxide from the systemic tissue cells. Is it clear? See, finally again what happens, the deoxygenated blood that will be enters into the heart and which will be supplied to the lungs and which will be continuing this process like this. Okay, this you will call it as a mechanism of respiration. Okay, sorry, in this flow chart I have represented. See here, this is not carbon dioxide, this is oxygen. Okay, I have done a mistake here. This is the oxygen, which is not carbon dioxide. Okay, you make a point about this. Okay, next we'll see about the transport of gases. Okay, next topic is transportation of different gases. Okay, see, that is uh, whenever the oxygen and carbon dioxide, okay, that enters the blood, okay, then certain chemical reactions that are occurs inside the blood, okay, that helps in the transportation of gases and also for the exchange of the gases. Is it clear? See, until now we had seen in the mechanism of respiration only the exchange of gases has been taken place. Okay, and finally the oxygen or carbon dioxide has reached the bloodstream, right? See, that means after reaching the bloodstream, certain chemical reactions, okay, that has been occurred that will be useful for the transportation of gases and also useful for the exchange of gases also. Okay, first we'll see about the oxygen transport. Here, the oxygen that doesn't dissolve easily in water, so only 1.5% of the inhaled oxygen is dissolved in the blood plasma. Clear? See, whatever the oxygen that has reached the blood, okay, the blood is having the water, right? See, as oxygen is not dissolved easily in the water, so only 1.5% of the oxygen is going to be dissolved in the blood plasma, and the remaining, okay, not the remaining, and about 98.5% of the blood oxygen, okay, whatever the 98.5% of the blood oxygen that will be present is bound to the hemoglobin in the RBC, right? See, that means each 100 ml of this oxygenated blood contains 20 ml of oxygen. Clear? And if you take 100 ml of oxygenated blood means definitely which contains 20 ml of the oxygen, right? And if you see in the hemoglobin, you're having one heme portion, right? That heme portion contains 4 atoms of iron. Okay, that each iron molecule is capable of binding to a molecule of oxygen. Clear? See, now that oxygen and the hemoglobin bind in an easily reversible reaction to form oxyhemoglobin. Is it clear? See, I told you the oxygen is not easily dissolved in the water, but only 1.5% that will be diffused into the bloodstream, right? See, that means whatever the oxygen that are present in the blood, okay, that oxygen is bound to the hemoglobin. Clear? Hemoglobin means not directly bonding to the hemoglobin, but bonding to the iron molecules. Okay, that means iron will be present in the heme portion of the hemoglobin, where this oxygen is going to be binding indirectly to the hemoglobin, and which will be forming the oxyhemoglobin here. Okay, see, whatever the 98.5% of oxygen that is bound to the hemoglobin is trapped inside the RBC, so only the dissolved oxygen, that is 1.5%, can diffuse out of the tissue capillaries and into the tissue cells. Is it clear? See, that means you remember, see, whatever the oxygen we are going to be inhaled, if that is reaching to the blood, means that's only 1.5% oxygen only which will be reaching to the capillaries. Okay, see, that's about the first one, as there is oxygen transport. And next coming to the carbon dioxide transport. Okay, see, under normal resting conditions, if you see, the each 100 ml of deoxygenated blood, that contains 53 ml of the carbon dioxide, okay, which is transported in the blood in mainly 3 forms. Okay, in how many forms? In 3 forms, which will be transported in the blood. Okay, if you compare the oxygen and the carbon dioxide transport, in case of oxygen, if you see, each 100 ml which will be having only 20 ml of oxygen, but here each 100 ml of deoxygenated blood which contains around 53 ml of the carbon dioxide. Clear? And the transportation is going to be taking place in blood in mainly 3 forms. First one is the dissolved carbon dioxide. That means a very small percentage, that is only 7 percentage, is dissolved in the blood plasma. See, upon reaching the lungs, it diffuses into the alveolar air and it is going to be exhaled out. Clear? See, from the tissues, okay, only 7% is going to be dissolved into the blood plasma. That is in the form of dissolved carbon dioxide, I am telling. Okay, only 7% of carbon dioxide is going to be dissolved in the blood plasma. See, once it is reaching the lungs, which will be, okay, that is diffuses into the alveolar air, and finally it is going to be exhaled out. Okay, and next form is carbamino compounds. Okay, next one is carbamino compounds. That is 23% of the carbon dioxide that is going to be combines with the amino groups of amino acids and also to the different proteins, okay, in the blood to form carbamino compounds. Okay, the 23% of the carbon dioxide that combines with the amino groups of amino acids and also combines with the proteins that are present in the blood to form carbamino compounds. Okay, and what are the main binding sites for this carbon dioxide are the terminal amino acids in the 2 alpha and 2 beta globulin chains. Okay, if you see regarding these amino acids, they are having alpha and beta globulin chains. That means at the terminal part of these amino acids, which is having these kind of chains, these are the main sites for the binding of this carbon dioxide. Okay, here the hemoglobin that bonds to the carbon dioxide and it is forming carbamino hemoglobin. Okay, and the third one is bicarbonate ions. Okay, and if you see this bicarbonate ions, that is 70% of the carbon dioxide is transported in the blood plasma as bicarbonate ions. That means the higher concentration of carbon dioxide that is going to be transported through the blood is only through the bicarbonate ions. See, that is as the carbon dioxide that is going to be diffuses into the systemic capillaries and enters the red blood cells. Okay, it reacts with the water in the presence of the enzyme, that is carbonic anhydrase, and it is forming the carbonic acid. Okay, and finally which will be dissociates into H plus and the bicarbonate ions. I hope you know this reaction. I think you are familiar of this reaction, that is carbon dioxide. It reacts with the water molecules in the presence of carbonic anhydrase, and it is forming the carbonic acid, and which will be easily broken down into H plus and bicarbonate ions. Clear? See, that means as the blood picks up the carbon dioxide, okay, and the bicarbonate ions, that is going to be accumulates inside the RBCs. See, that means as the blood that is going to be picks up the carbon dioxide from the tissues, the bicarbonate ions also accumulates inside the RBC. So some amount of bicarbonate ions that is going to be moves out into the blood plasma. See, that means in exchange, because of this moving out of these bicarbonate ions, this is going to be exchanges with the chloride ions that moves from the plasma into the RBC, right? See, this exchange of negative ions, okay, which is maintaining the electrical balance between the blood plasma and the RBC in the cytosol is known as chloride shift. Okay, you remember this terminology? What is meant by this chloride shift? That is the exchange of negative ions, okay, which is maintaining the electrical balance, okay, between the blood plasma and the RBC, okay, is known as a chloride shift. Okay, see, finally the net effect of these reactions is that the oxygen is removed from the tissue cells and transported into the plasma as a bicarbonate ions. Clear? See, not directly which will be transported as carbon dioxide, but which will be transported to the plasma as bicarbonate ions. Clear? And finally, as the blood which will be passes through the pulmonary capillaries in the lungs, all these reactions reverse, and finally the carbon dioxide is going to be exhaled out. Okay, that's all students about the mechanism of respiration, and next one is the transportation of gases.